Last year, I posted a breakdown of how I got to 100,000 followers on LinkedIn. Yes, LinkedIn. And the DMs blew up. And the same question kept coming up. How exactly did you get started? And how long did it take you to make $100,000 in the platform? So, when everyone asks for the same blueprint, you make a video. So today, I'm taking you behind the scenes of every step. The early posts that flopped and got like 8 likes, the 4 months where I was almost about to quit, and the single post that finally hit and changed everything. So we're going to talk about the first DMs that got me paid engagements, pricing mistakes that you can avoid that I made. And this is not going to be the highlight reel. This is really going to be the breakdown. So with that said, let's dive right in. So now let me tell you why most LinkedIn growth advice is fundamentally broken. Most of it is coming from people, unfortunately, that do pods. So they game the system. So that's a growth hack you can do, but you're going to have vanity metrics and vanity followers, which will not make you money at all. And also, you don't want to be fake famous where people don't really know what you do or who you are. Well, how I personally built LinkedIn, how I built my first business, and how I've gone from being at Cannes Line, being in Amsterdam, speaking on multiple different stages, 4-time LinkedIn top sales voice, and almost 200,000 followers now. None of that happened because I posted 5 times a day or gamed the system. It happened because I understood what I wanted to be known for, how I wanted to show up as a person, and how people can relate to me. So with that being said, we're going to talk about 5 things that you personally can do. Write this down right now that will help you get to that first $100,000 from LinkedIn. Okay, so number one thing we're going to talk about is get clear on what you want to be known for. We'll talk about those steps. 2 is how to arbitrage your audience via podcasts. 3, how to create content from podcasts and your own content. 4 is how do you build your offer from signals you see in the market. And then 5 is how do you ultimately sell that offer. So the first thing that we want to talk about and where I started in 2016, 2017 is what to be known for. Now, back then, I was a sales development rep. So if you don't know what a sales development rep is, that is someone effectively who is an SDR, and they are doing like cold calling, cold emailing, and social selling. So while I was in that role, what I wanted to be known for was being great at sales development or being an SDR in this example. So I was sharing my best practices on how to be better at cold calling, what sucks about the role, what's great about the role, what you can be doing differently to be successful. And the thing is, I wasn't trying to be known for everything. I was trying to be known for that one thing. Because if you're trying to be known for everything, that's how you're going to be known for nothing. And so as I got known for that one thing of sales development, my brand and recognition grew over time. And people started asking me questions around that thing. And I started getting invited to conferences about that thing. And I was getting paid about that thing, right? So that's how it all started. But it was one central focus. And then you can evolve from there, but you don't want to have central focus. So the question that I want you all to answer as you're watching, listening this video is setting up your foundation for what do you want to be known for? So there's 3 things that you can do to find out that answer. Number 1, go ask 5 people that know you really well. Could be your best friend, could be your wife, your girlfriend, your husband. It could be your former boss, whoever it is. 5 people that know you very well and say, what am I the best at? What are my strengths? If you want to go ask 10 people, you can, but you should get a common answer there, right? Then number 2 is I would write down, what do you feel like you're the best at, right? So you also can do that as well. 3 is, I didn't have this back then, but you have AI. Ask AI to ask you questions on how you can decipher what your strengths and what you're best at and what you want to be known for. Once you understand what you want to be known for, it will ultimately make you more successful at what you do. Mine was sales development 10 years ago. Now for me right now, my commitment is to be the face and voice of human-centric selling. So evolving humans, evolving the way that they sell, evolving the way they communicate with others. So I want people to be like, you know what? I know Morgan because he helps me evolve as a human and also in the sales outbound front. That's what I want to be known for now. So it can evolve over time. You're not stuck with this. So just chill out. That's all good. So let's get to step number 2, which is arbitraging audiences. So this is the move that not a lot of people talk about. It's how I built my brand super fast when I had no credibility, no one knew who I was at all on LinkedIn or in the world. What you want to do is you want to identify in your world who has the leverage. It's probably people who have podcasts, YouTube shows, etc. So what I did back in the day is when I was trying to get more into the sales development space, I cold emailed every single host, I think it was like 100 hosts, to get on their podcast. I think 10 or 20 people answered, so I did really well on those, and then I asked for referrals to get on other podcasts. So you could do the same exact thing. So tactically, let's bring it down for you. If you're saying, hey, I want to get into the video game space. I love video games. Shout out to Mario 64, Zeldas of the world. So I would go and in AI now, because it's easier, and say, what are the top 100 gaming podcasts in the world? Give me a list. They'll give you 100. So then be like, hey, can you find me the host and find me either their social media handles or their email addresses? It will give you that information. And then you just need to cold email those people and message them to get in front of them. Now, some of you may be wondering, what is the template for that? On the screen, you'll see a template of what I used back in the day. So you can use there's something similar to this as well. Obviously, it's not going to be the same exact thing because you're going to be doing health, fitness, video games, but you get the point. This gets you going. Now, as you get on these podcasts and speak to brands, ultimately, at the end of the day, what's going to end up happening is people will start to recognize you and you'll be more confident in what you do. And you're getting exposure to people's audiences that can siphon back to you. You're borrowing trust, and that's the entire play that we want to run here. And make sure that you do that consistently so that you can build into content, which leads into step number 3. Step number 3, which is taking the content from the podcast and putting it on LinkedIn. The benefit of this is when you get on podcasts, it allows you to flesh out your points more. And most hosts will give you the raw copy or the transcript of the podcast or whatever you did. So if we're able to do that and create content from our podcast experiences, then it allows us to have a multiplier effect of content. Don't waste your efforts on podcasts. I've also done this myself. So what I did here is I would get off the podcast and I would be like, okay, what were the main highlights I talked about? I would get the transcript, find those things, and redo those for posts. Now, that was back in 2017. I had to do it manually. Now, guess what? You got AI. So you could put it in Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. I don't really care what you pick. But whatever you decide to pick and whatever you decide to do, what you ultimately want to do at the end of the day, and this is the cheat code, is take the transcript of the podcast that you went on, you could throw it into Claude and be like, hey, can you go through all this and tell me what the main points were, what really stood out as a post that I could create? Or you could also throw it into Opus. I ain't sponsored by this video, I'm just giving you advice. You can go to Opus and it will give you short form clips that you can use to put out on LinkedIn or another channel as you see fit. And the goal is that you are speaking in your own voice. And the benefit is AI is able to synthesize that and put out more content. And the big benefit of that too, before we go into step number 4, is every single thing that you talked about inside of step 3 in that podcast, you can then remix it and write your own content. So this is allowing you to not only grow your audience, but this is speaking to your buyer pain points, because all the podcasts that you should be going on should be speaking directly to your buyers. So you're speaking in that language. So it's easier for AI to decipher it. And then once it's deciphered, you could just, put pen to paper, right? And write a LinkedIn post that will attract the right audiences. And these are all the steps that I took to grow super fast. I did about 80 podcast interviews in like 4 months. I was going absolutely berserk. I don't do that as much today because I built leverage over time, but this is exactly what I would recommend you to do if you're starting out, because you're going to get comfortable and confident in your presence. You're going to get excited about what you're doing, and you get content as a byproduct, and you're speaking to other audiences, right? So before we go into step number 4, inside of the description, if you do want to check that out, I have created a way for you to prompt all this stuff that I'm mentioning, all these prompts. So there's a prompt package you can find in the description to go out and find these podcast interviews and also refine your email templates. So make sure to check that out if you haven't. So now we'll go to step number 4, because this is where we get the money. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story though. Stick with me. When I first started creating content, I was not good at all. I didn't have an offer either. So I didn't know what I was selling. So I just knew that I wanted to be known for sales development, and I needed to put as much content about it as possible. So as I started posting, getting on podcasts, recreating content from the podcast and creating my own content, people started asking me more questions, which is the benefit of doing the things I'm talking about. They'd be like, hey, Morgan, how do I write a cold email? Morgan, how do I do a cold call? Morgan, can you help my SDR team with messaging? So as I saw these questions come through, it clicked with me and said, okay, these questions seem to be similar over and over again. And this is actually the offer I need to build. So the thing at the end of the day is you can build the perfect offer by what people are messaging you in the DMs, and then also what people are saying in the comments. Now you could take an extended version of this and just ask AI, hey, what are my buyers' pain points, and create me an offer to get started. But also the benefit of this is just listening to what people tell you as you post more content. So you could go ahead and create one on AI and get yourself started. But how I got my first paid offer was just from the DM. Someone was like, hey, could you come in and speak to my SDR team? And at the time I really didn't know what that was worth. So I said, all right, I'll do a virtual session for, I don't know, $400. They said yes. And I was really excited because it was my first time making money outside of my job. So I didn't know any better. Over time, I realized you could charge way more for that. But $400, I was like, this is amazing. I felt like a millionaire because I had never made money outside of my main job yet, right? And so that became something. Then I started doing one-on-one coaching. I did that for like $150 an hour because, again, I didn't know. I was like, hey, let me figure it out. I learned a lot from that. And then it evolved over time to where now, I might do a talk and it's 10x what I just mentioned to you right now. But you learn that over time as you do the offers. But the whole goal is you just want to have something to present. So how I made money was just paying attention to what people asked me in the DMs, what they wanted based on the questions, and what people in the comments said that they wanted. And then in this day and age, I would just go ahead and say, what's something that I can offer that is not free, but maybe a little paid? And then I would also do some free work as well to get your proof points up. But my main thing was looking at the DMs and finding offers from there. And that's exactly what you could do as well, is take the information you're getting from the DMs and go get your offer. Pre-build, do whatever you got to do. But as you post more, as you put more stuff out there, I found that people will DM you saying, hey, this is what I'm actually looking for. And then based on that, I can create that offer. And over time, that you'll refine your offer. It'll be better. I have an offer right now. It's called Sales Team 6. And that all started from the beginning of talking to SDR teams. It went from talking to SDR teams. I joined a sales training company where I would do 1 full day on-site sessions. Then it went to a 45-day program. Now we have a 4-month program called Sales Team 6 where we get super in depth with the client. But I had to learn that over time. That wasn't my first iteration of the offer. And you're not going to get it perfect, just to be honest with you. Like, unless, you're the genius of all geniuses, but that doesn't happen that often. So find your offer. You can do it on AI, pre-build it. But more importantly, use what the audience is telling you to build it. That's what I did. That's how I was able to get to that first 100K, was stacking that. Now it comes down to selling the offer, right? So cool, people will come in inbound, yet I will tell you that you ain't gonna get 100% inbound all the time. Once I knew what people were asking for and I could package it, I started to reach out to those people who had been asking, right, in the DMs, or people who had been engaged with the content, and started going from there. So let's talk about engaging with the content, and then people aren't engaging with your content. There's another way to do this. So effectively, there are 3 different ways that you can engage with people to start a conversation. Number 1 is they viewed your profile. I'd be like, hi, Sally, saw you viewed my profile. What caught your eye? And then that could lead into a conversation about the offer. The second thing that I used is off of my content. So if someone liked content, I'd be like, hey, thanks for liking my post on Sales Nav. What exactly is your team focused on right now when it comes to Sales Navigator? Or another lane I would take is, hey, saw you commented on my post about this. What exactly is this bringing up for you right now in your conversation? So I would also layer it that way. So the thing is, I'm using content, I'm using viewed profile to reach out. That's how I got that first 100K. However, there also is a proactive way in nature. You could easily go into something called Sales Navigator, or if you don't have Sales Navigator, you could just use regular LinkedIn search. I would look up the people that you're looking to target, whether it's sales reps, sales managers, IT managers, etc. And I would reach out to them saying, hey, I recently have been talking to about 10 IT managers. They've been actually telling me that this one core problem they have is X, and I've been looking to solve that with this type of offer. How exactly are you going about this today? So that could be another proactive way of doing it, and that's how I did it at the end of the day as well. And so ultimately what we're looking at is what you want to track, and how I tracked everything in 2017 was, one, is the content that I'm creating, is it quality people commenting and engaging? Are they my avatars? If they're not, then I need to switch that. Two is the DMs that I'm getting and that I'm asking people to DM me, is that becoming quality over time in how people engage with me and how they want to go about it, right? And then three, am I paying attention to the DMs that I have that lead to repeat questions that allow me to create my offer? So obviously, this is exactly what my process was. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's going to be different for everyone. But if you're thinking about how do I get to my first 100K, these are the steps, right? How do I figure out how I'm going to be known for something? That's the most important part. Take that exercise seriously. Then it's, how do I get on podcasts to get in front of people so I can have more leverage? Then as I get on these podcasts, I can create content from the podcast and put it on LinkedIn. When I'm on LinkedIn, I can then look at my DMs I'm getting and figure out my offer. But then also, number 5, I can start selling that offer to people as well. And then that's how you create this flywheel that gets you to 100K. So my hope is that you take this information and you go execute. Let the content, let the avatar and the pain points build the offer for you. And then as you work with people, you will find exactly what you were meant here to do, so that you can not only be an inspiration for yourself, but inspiration for others, and have joy in what you do. So I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, as they always say. And I hope that you have fun creating content on LinkedIn. If you got any questions, drop them in the comments. Hope you all have a great blast. Have a great time out there.